To the Betfair.com Haskell Invitational Seminar. I'm Frank Mirahmadi. Two very special guests with us. The United States Exchange Director for Betfair, Bart Barden, is right next to me, and Dean Keppler, who is the handicapper for Betfair, and you see him very, very active online. First things first, Bart, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great night.
You know, Betfair came to the United States and purchased TVG, and a lot of people asked a very simple question: who is Betfair?
Well, Betfair is a regulated and established brand, started in 1999 in the UK, and we've quickly grown to the largest betting exchange in the world. We process more transactions than the European Stock Exchange combined on a daily basis. And on an annual basis, people match more bets together than the total volume of eBay.
Dean, welcome to the seminar today. Tell us a little bit about your background and now your role as a handicapper.
Sure. I started off at the Daily Racing Forum, where I worked for about 8 years, running their DRF Press book division. Wrote a couple handicap books myself for the forum, and always been interested in exchange wagering, and I got this opportunity to do some work for them this summer, and I love it. I think it's one of the greatest things out there, and I think once people get hooked and they start playing, it's just going to grow and grow as we go further.
There's no question. As a racing fan myself, I have found that my friends who are passionate about racing are extremely opinionated about who they like and who they don't like, and that's where we take stands. And the multi-race wagers have become a very important part of today's wagering cycle, where you take horses that you completely toss out. Well, this opportunity in exchange wagering, which comes to New Jersey, and of course Monmouth Park, our partners in this, it gives bettors a very unique opportunity to either A, lock in their own odds on a horse that they really love, or B, put something out there to those and kind of welcoming them in. Tell us a little bit about how that works, because I think in talking to so many people, even savvy horse players, a lot of people are adverse to change and anything new, but I think that this is something that is really fascinating.
Yeah, the ability to lock your odds is this is a pari-mutuel pool with people betting against each other, and so because of that, it favors people who have identified value. So if you think a horse is valued at 6 to 1 and you want to get that 6 to 1, this is a platform that has a greater chance to allow you to do that. Someone else, just like anything, this is a market. There is someone that does not think that that horse is valued at 6 to 1, and therefore you will, in effect, create a match bet there, and that's what it allows someone to do. It's great because for the people that really know horses and really know tracks and things like that, it becomes it's a win-win for them. They either get the price they want or they don't. But they don't ever take a price that then everyone piles on until the very end, and then they feel, I was really right, but I would really like to get 6 to 1 versus 2 to 1 of when it went off.
Let's talk about the Betfair.com Haskell Invitational as an example. Let's just say that I want to bet on Nyquist, but I'm thinking with a 6 to 5 morning line, he may even drop a little bit lower, so I want to try to get some value. What would I do? Let's just say that I want to get 9 to 5 on Nyquist. And in a situation like this, I think that's a very reasonable expectation, because there are going to be people that are going to want to take a stand against him after the Triple Crown. So let's just try to use simple denominations and say that I'm trying to bet $100 to win $180 on Nyquist. How would that work? And I think the important question I'm trying to ask you is to maybe express the simplicity for those that might be a little adverse to trying to get something that they may not understand.
Right, so the Betfair exchange uses decimal odds, and so at 6 to 5, which is just a shade better than even money, the decimal odd equivalent is, let's just say 2. Sure. Okay, for even money's sake, it's simple math. So basically, it's all about your return. So if you were to put your $100 down at 2.0 on Nyquist, and he was to come in, it would be, you would return your 100. So you'd get your 100 return, better than your 80 that you're trying to get, and then your stake would be returned as well. But you're looking for more value than that. So in your example, what you would do if you think that that price is a little lower than you want, you can go into the market and put up a price of, let's say, 2.2, 2.3. What I'd recommend is some type of, you want to try to get, take your 100 and maybe split it. Take 50 at 2.2, 50 at 2.4. And because the market it will move and people come in and out of the market, you might get both of those bets matched. Then you're sitting on true value, because also, like anything, the market could come down, and compared to the tote, if the tote, it goes off at 6-5, you've gotten value for yourself.
Dean, you've done a lot of handicapping in your lifetime, but it almost changes a little bit with exchange wagering, because sometimes you may take a horse that you might not have normally even wanted, but because the value is extraordinary. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I found that about, I'd say like 75 or 80% of the time, you're going to be able to lock in at odds that are better on the tote. And, to me, that's just incredible. I think that the main advantage is you can take a negative stand against horses, and that's the one thing that I like to do. You're able to bet against and lay against vulnerable favorites on a card. I'm sure we've all been there and say, geez, I hate this favorite. I think he's getting way over bet. And now you have the opportunity to bet against him, and I think that's the way to attack a card. Is I like to go through a card and maybe pick out 2, 3, 4 favorites depending on the day that I know are going to get bet hard, and go right ahead and lay against them. I think that's where the best option is.
Talk about navigating through the website and putting your money in, and how easy is it? Race trackers are generally pretty sharp individuals. They have to read racing forums, they read sheets, they're analyzing things. How simple is it to just get onto the website that you're on? I know for you it's very easy, but how would you teach somebody for the first time, like, hey, this is pretty simple stuff?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're a New Jersey Bets account holder, it's just basically one click of transferring your funds from there over to the exchange. So it's very simple. If you're active on New Jersey Bets, it's just a matter of like I said, just one click, and you got your money switched over to the account, and you're ready to go.
Let's talk about takeout or commissions, because that is something that everyone sometimes just talks about in a very vague term, but there's extraordinary value offered through the Betfair exchange.
Yeah, there is. So our published commission rate is 12%, but that's 12% only on a winning bet, right? So that's also 12% on if you have bet multiple horses in a race. We're only taking 12% of the net. So we're not taking 12% on every bet you made, only what your total risk would be individually. So that's very good. Compared to some of the implicit takeout, it is a value, and it reflects in our price, right? Obviously, a lot of the price benefits that you see on the exchange is due to the fact that people see that value. And even if exchange wagering is something that you want to dabble in a bit, I recommend that you try it, but use it as an information tool. It's a great tool and another piece of data that you can, if you still want to bet tote or you still want to do some exactas, well, use the Betfair odds to kind of say, oh, these might be some value that people aren't seeing, and use that value in your 4NJ bets type of exotic bets. It's a tool for you to do things, and it's also a tool for information.
I am absolutely convinced that this, and I've worked with Betfair TVG for years myself, but as a personality, I would say that I am convinced that this thing, when it gets the opportunity, I know that Betfair has worked tirelessly to get the opportunity to show how much the fans are going to like this. I just know so many opinionated people, and you look at the card on a day when you just see a 4 to 5 that it's a friend of mine and I use the expression right but wrong so frequently, where we take a stand against a horse, we go 5 deep, and we still have nothing to show for that situation. That's the most frustrating thing, I think, for horse players.
Yeah, and just when we came and launched this on the opening day here, right? The data point I like to share is of the 8 I think there was 9 races on the card that day. The Betfair price at the gate compared to what the tote went off at, there was the price was 9 of the races across all the favorites who won, it was better.
Right.
And you can't beat that type of majority value.
No question. I wanted to ask you a question, Dean, for people that are big bettors. I've had the question asked before, if I wanted to make a large investment on or against a horse, is there enough money in these pools?
I think there is, Bart, right? There's enough, certainly is enough liquidity for someone to make a solid wager, sure. And it's just growing. It's growing week by week and day by day.
Yeah, obviously it depends by track, but it's like the number one thing that me and my team are trying to do is to help bring that liquidity in. And you know, there are certain times in the race where you're going to see, you know, people jumping in and out, so your liquidity looks to be flexible, but ultimately there is a lot of liquidity in races. For big races like this weekend, you know, there's a lot of liquidity there for people, and I think you just have to be a little patient. Set a price that you feel you want to take, and just, you know, go have a beer, go check your website, and oh my gosh, you know, your bets have been matched. So
one last question: if someone is intrigued by what they're hearing right now, what is the best course of action in learning more about exchange wagering?
We have a very good help and learning section, lots of videos. We have about a series of about 12 videos. We have lots of FAQs and stuff, so just go to the homepage of the site, you know, exchange.us.betfair.com. You can, any of those type of things, you can look at any of the information to come through our social channels, you know, Betfair USA, Facebook. And if you have any specific questions, use those channels, and hey, I'll answer your question for you. Like, we really want to make this work. We really want to make this grow. We want to be additive to the horse racing industry, and you know, we think this is an innovative thing that can do that.
There's no question about it, ladies and gentlemen. This right here, Bart Barden, Dean Keppler, you can find both of them very easily online. They're here to help you. They're here to offer suggestions and, more importantly, teach you about this fascinating opportunity, exchange wagering. We're very proud here at Monmouth Park to be a part of this, and it's certainly a pleasure spending some time with both of you.
Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you so much, Frank.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming up next in just a couple of moments, the handicapping portion of our seminar. Dean will stay right here. He'll be joined by Matt Bernier of the Daily Racing Forum. Tom Cassidy will take my seat as the host. Thank you very much for joining us right here. It's Betfair.com Haskell Invitational Weekend here at Monmouth Park.